Let's get here, and it's time to talk about Witch Hat Atelier. And this episode, they finally did it. I've been wanting, expecting, and asking this since the beginning of the series. They finally addressed the Coco Agot exam, everything, how it started here in this episode. I was like, okay. And this made me trust the series a lot more. I kept waiting for this, when they are gonna address it, when they're gonna come to it here. But also this episode did a lot of things for Keyfrey, the characters, and building up, especially Tarta. I'm really liking what they're doing with Tarta here. So we have a lot of things to cover in this episode. Let's get into it. Speaking of Tarta, picks up with him being suspicious of what happened with Nol Noah, the light. Keyfrey thinking, did Keyfrey do it intentionally? Does he know something about it? Also gonna talk a bit about this, about Keyfrey and Tarta at the end of the episode, because it's feeling like the next episode is gonna be about the two of them. But before we get to that, we have Coco and the others shenanigans, training, working on signs, seals, spells. They're talking a bit about adaptation and things like that. I'm really liking the energy of Riche and Tetia. They're great here, and Coco along with them. But then Agot has to always be serious. I feel like she's kind of the odd one out of the group, but in a good way. I'm starting more and more to like Agot here, especially after we find out in this episode with her. But when she came in also serious while they're messing around here, they kind of swarm her and kill her with kindness. And she tags along, she kind of gets peer pressured in. And I like that dynamic about them here. And they go a bit about the philosophy with magic existing to make people happy. Also talking a bit about the tests, the designs behind them, kind of being like an adventure and getting to know yourself better. In a way, the more tests you take, the more they signify how much you know yourself and magic here. Apparently there's 5 of them, and it's this pentacle of proving called here. And the more tests you take, the more magic you can do and you're allowed to. And nailing that in, the more magic you draw and things like that, the more you remember. That's how you grow powerful here. It's not really about having more mana, more internal magic, more aura, more genetics, or more whatever. The more knowledge you have and the more you remember it, the stronger you are. And also how you adapt it, how you use it. And I really like this. It's more of a grounded magic, harder magic system. You have soft and hard magic systems here. But I'm liking this quite a lot. And we get a bit of the 4th test. You take it, you become a full witch. The 5th test, you take it if you want to take apprentices here, but the 3rd test is probably going to be important for both Coco and Agot, because you can take on the Tower of Tomes here. And I like how reaches instantly against tests authority here with Tetia. They're also having their own dreams and how they want to do in the future. Here Agot wanting to change here, to do more, and she reveals she wants to become a librarian of the Tower of Tomes. Finally have her goal, but also kind of like her pressure and everything in her back after the reveal that Agot family is apparently descended from an apprentice of the 3 wise ones. And I'm liking the small tidbits that we get about the world, the characters, building here, expanding the role, the lore, the world building there. The more attention you pay, I feel like the more things you find out, the more things you pick up with this series. And then we see the perspective from Coco when they asked her, hey, what kind of witch do you want to be? And says, kind of had different starting points. Yes, it's kind of true. Coco's had very, very different starting point, considering what happened with her mother, whatever the Brimcats have planned for her, why exactly they want her. I have so many questions with that, but she's decided. For now, she just wants to learn more, of course, to learn more, grow more powerful, more information, more knowledge, to be able to save her mother here. And we see how much internal pressure she has, kind of similar a bit with Agot. We still don't fully know her dynamics, what happened with her family. Probably they view her as a failure, like we saw in those flashbacks, trauma. Coco kind of experiences something similar here, but more from herself, how much guilt she still has internally, how much she blames herself for what happened with her mother. You see the nightmare here. And kind of reminded me a bit of Vinland Saga, the nightmare that Thorfinn had in season 2. That's all I'm gonna say. Please watch Vinland Saga here. But we see both of them pushing it more and more. Agot wanting to do more work even without sleeping. Kifrey tells her to go to sleep here, but then she runs into Coco kind of doing the same way. But she couldn't sleep thanks to that nightmare, pushing herself even more. You know, when you have that bad dream, especially considering going through something that Coco went through, you see how much it hurt her, the trauma there. She was hiding that for everybody here, pushing herself more and more to save her mother, but also for something else, which I really liked in this episode. But before I get back to them, also have to talk about Kifrey, because he was also a very central piece of this episode. He finally has his alone time with the ink vial here, and we get some reveals. Apparently it's from since the day of the pact there, the healing witches fought with the in the past there with the Three Wise edict here, and this twin bottle was from them and apparently was lost along with their memories. And I like how he said it's kind of ironic that the only ones that are able to create it now are the brimmed caps here. So still really curious what exactly happened in with the pact. Is my theory correct? Was somebody just taken control over the magic world, put them into this position under the pretense of protecting people, or is this the actual case here? And also my theory with the silver washed eyes with Tarta and the world actually not having color. Watch my previous video here. So have a lot of questions with the bigger world, but it's too early for this. And like I said, I'm gonna trust the series a bit more, especially after this episode here. Then he finally wants to dissect the spell to see how it works to get the connection to the brimmed caps, and he kind of fucked up here, to be honest. He seals himself off there with the spell here. He thinks about using the guidance orb to get direction straight to them. If he gets that seal thing, the coin where it's inside, he tries to remove it, but of course it doesn't work out. I think kind of let his enthusiasm, his impatience to get the better of him. He should have prepared a bit more, but even he said it, he finally has something and he couldn't wait anymore here. So he tries to remove that. There's a lightning trap there and water floods the inside of the room he created. He gets shocked and he can't use spells, so it basically fucks him over completely. Then somehow the brimmed cap, the villain guy that we have, the shady cap, like I call him, teleports in, is able to break the vial, so he basically lost every connection that he had, and also kind of nullifies what he did to Null Noah, erasing his memories. So he's back where he started, and maybe even worse because of what he did to Null Noah. The brim caps know that he's doing this and so on. And even that guy was disappointed that despite everything he did to give this to Coco, now it's gone. So I'm curious what he's gonna do moving forward here. So yeah, Kifrey misstep here in this episode, to say the least. But I like, he's not perfect, actually let himself, he couldn't wait anymore. I really like that quite a lot here. We see his flaws and how far he's willing to go for this. Even him saying he will get back what was taken from him. So he got a crumb of why exactly he wants to go after the brim caps. What was taken from him, I have no idea, but I'm really liking Kifrey quite a lot, and I like that he's a character that is willing to break the rules, not just bend them, and to do what is needed, even the dark things here, maybe a revenge or whatever happened in the past for him there. But then we have both of them after this, Kifrey and Coco, both very tired. One even numb from the electric trap there. The other students telling them to get some rest, not overwork themselves. They realize that Kifrey is acting weird, spacing out, breaking the tea here. But he goes on his way. The moment that I liked in this episode, and they finally did it, we have Coco asking Agot to talk to her here and returning her the shoes. That's why she was also pushing herself so much to fix the shoes, to make them, to return them for Agot. And I like how Agot was instantly, What are you plotting? This is suspicious. What's going on here? Instant suspicious there. I don't think she's used to people and kindness that much, and especially Coco. She's not somebody that you can read. I think Coco breaks every flow that Agot has in general, and especially with something like this here. And they finally addressed the elephant in the room that I've been having with the series from the beginning. Why nobody talked about how Agot pushed Coco into taking the test here, and actually bluntly asks Coco, why didn't you tell Kifrey what happened here? And yes, finally, so Coco didn't tell anybody, and she actually takes responsibility for this, saying, I felt scared that day, you pushed me into it, but I was the one that made the decision to take the test with my own magic. And it's very true. I said it before with my previous videos and episode that she definitely reminds me of Gon from Hunter x Hunter, how oblivious, innocent she is, but also crazy, and how much the excitement and love for magic takes her by the horns herself, so to say, there. So I really liking Coco doing this, and they finally addressed this one, and I actually liked the moment quite a lot there. And then I got kind of lost, saying, wait, so I was the only one that was dwelling on this. I like that Agot actually had some internal guilt or thinking about that moment here, and I'm curious where they're gonna take their relationship after this, because while she said that, Coco instantly passes out. So was it overexertion, pushing herself so much, or is it also related to using that spell, the weird ink that they had from the brim caps, or something else? So she passes out there. Then we have Agot rushing with the shoes. Even though they weren't perfect, she kind of was speeding too much, couldn't control them properly. They're probably gonna have to redo the seals, but the gesture was the main point from that. But anyway, she rushed for Kifrey there, emergency to deal with Coco. Kifrey decides to take her to the hospital in Calm, and I like how everything is connected and working together. The more attention you pay, the more you are rewarded with this series so far, at least. And then we see Tarta with some kids playing there, and the kids asked a very interesting question. Hey, if you're from a family of witches, why don't you just fly? He wanted to take the ferry and runs off earlier. And I like that because it implies quite a lot, because we know the truth behind his with the silver washed eyes, not really a witch. So he knows the town a lot there. This is kind of like his routine. He's living there. He knows the streets, shortcuts, and things like that here. And when he runs off, he also runs into Kifrey, and Kifrey instantly asking him for direction. Hey, I don't know where the hospital is. Can you help me? And he's like, yes, I know a shortcut. And he does actually, and we know a reason why he knows those shortcuts, because he kind of takes them every day or very often, because he's not able to fly over things like most witches, and that explains quite a lot. And I like that character building, character development quite a lot. Something small, but has huge ramifications here. And they reach the hospital, they leave her there. We're gonna have to find out what's wrong with Coco, but then we have the conversation. Kifrey and Tarta even telling him, thank you for knowing the shortcuts, thank you for helping me, and you're quite observant here. And Tarta is ready to ask Kifrey the question, and I'm curious, is there gonna be a confrontation? What exactly is Kifrey gonna answer? Is Tarta gonna fully bluntly ask the question, or is he gonna ask something and keep being suspicious of Kifrey? I'm curious where they're gonna go with this and what's going to happen there. But Tarta is definitely becoming one of the most interesting characters in the series. The more I see of him, the more interesting he is becoming. And also with Kifrey, man, the series, I feel like this episode made me get into the series a lot more. Like the previous ones, definitely I like the series, don't get me wrong, but this one amplified everything. It feels like a turning point in a way with everything that has been going on so far. So yeah, great episode here. It didn't have the action, but man, the world building, character development, and also the plot moving forward so much, it's insane. Just talking, amplifies this so much. So yes, let me know what you guys thought about the episode, what you think about the characters, everything that has been revealed in this episode. Let me know in the comments below. As always, don't go into spoilers, and remember to like and subscribe, helps me quite a lot, and you guys get the latest videos on the series that I follow. So keep enjoying Witch Hat Atelier. I'm gonna see you again on the next one. Bye bye.